find yourself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start dropping. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah,
it's all about the entertainment. So I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again. It's Tuesday night, that can only mean BSC night. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by one Mr. Ewan O'Leary this evening. No Kenton Sportec. He is having a night off. So no Kenton, but I've got a suitable replacement in Mr. O'Leary. Is going to come along and join me this evening for this one. Well, guys, this is round 6 of the summer season. It's going fast, isn't it? Right the way through as we go our tri-season kicking off. Nashville Super Speedway will be next week, and then we'll go to Chicago Street Course on July 2nd. Pocono Raceway for the second time on July 9th, then Indianapolis Oval on July 16th. Chicagoland Speedway on August the 6th, and then we'll finish off the season with Michigan International Speedway on August the 13th. The scores on the doors at this moment in time. Clint Holterman is out in front, and he's doing an absolutely marvellous job there on 157. Andrew Williams on 149, with Devon Collicott sitting in third. Noel Jackowitz 4th, Alex Witt 5th, Nick Stockner 6th, Christian Strada 7th, Andrew Jamalin 8th, Hunter Carlson 9th, Matthew Norberg in 10th, with Joshua Kuhn rounding out for 11th place. Homestead Miami. Well, what can we say about Homestead Miami? Well, we can tell you one thing about it. It's going to be exciting. The banking in the turns, 18 to 20 degree variable banking. Well, I don't really know what else we can say when it brings you up what plans to be some absolute epic racing. Well, let's bring in Mr. Ewan O'Leary and have a chat with him. Ewan, welcome in. How are you, sir?
Doing well, thanks. Looking forward to my first time covering this series, which will be fun, and looking forward to this circuit. What I'm impressed by so far from watching practice is just the different lines that we're going to see here tonight. Quite a long race for us to get tucked into, 125 laps here over the course of the evening. So that's it gives us plenty of time, nearly 200 miles. And yeah, this circuit has been a fixture on the NASCAR calendar for quarter of a century now, would you believe it? No longer the final race of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, and it's certainly not the final race on our schedule this season either. But it is a good circuit, more steep banking than it used to have certainly, but that I think personally provides better racing, and hopefully will provide good racing for us tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, and it's something that we can look forward to as well. Welcome in to YouTube chat, of course, Mr. Seth Pegg. I cannot wait for this one, he says there. And Terry Spainall, the Kelly car has come in. So excited to see it back on track. Go TJ. That's obviously TJ Spainall in the 86 Racine. Bradley Dalton, I'm expecting a good race, he says. Well, let's see how it goes and how it gets on. We have just entered into qualifying as per normal. It doesn't really mean a lot, but they have got 3 minutes 34 on the clock of qualifying remaining to see how they get on here. What do we think is gonna happen here? You know, it's 1.5 mile oval, it's an asphalt surface with that high degree banking in the turns, coming off with going down to as low as 3 degrees here as well. 55 feet wide. It's not the widest circuit, so they're going to have to be careful here passing.
Well, I think I don't know. I think it's going to be not so difficult in terms of passing. It's not going to be one of those where you're really struggling, I don't think. But we'll have to wait and see really how the wideness of the circuit does play into this. We've certainly seen a fair share of big crashes around here in the past, and as you've already put in the YouTube chat, how many cautions are we going to see tonight? That's going to be a bit of a point of discussion for everybody for sure. But we'll find out as the evening goes on, see what kind of a race we get. Do we get a long green flag run kind of race with lots of clean racing, or is it going to be quite stop-start over the course of the evening?
Well, let's hope it's not a stop-start race. I don't think we could need one of them. We have seen them before with, I think it was 19 cautions at Dover. So let's hope that we don't see that again here as well. Nick Stockner in the 124 car from the Orange World Racing. Boys with him and Norberg and Williams. So it's a 123 for Orange World Racing at the moment. They're sitting on top of lap times around about 32.6. seconds. Shouldn't be it's a fast lap, so should it take this long? How are they going to go for this race itself? Are they going to look at trying to get to the front as quickly as possible? Are they going to look and sit back and think, well, actually, we've got 125 laps, so we have got time to take it easy?
Well, I think the tyres are going to be a discussion over the course of the evening. We'll find out over the course of the first green flag run just how quickly they actually drop off. But I think we are going to see certain people trying to get to the front immediately. We have got a championship to think about, of course. Clint Halterman and Andrew Williams are only separated by 8 points at the start of the day, and they have quite a gap back to the rest of the field, I would argue. Halterman at the moment is 10th in this session, and I don't think I can see a time yet from... Or am I going a bit blind?
No, you're not.
Oh, no, I am, yeah. No, I am. Williams has set a time. He's 4th. So there you go. Sorry for that. But yeah, they'll both be racing to the front early on. And anyone who's got designs and scoring a lot of points will be as well. But anyone further back may be saving their tyres a little bit. And they're also going to be an interesting discussion point for me. 4 sets over the course of the 125 laps. That's roughly 31 and a bit laps per stint, per set of tyres, I should say. How are they going to use those up over the course of the day, with also the factoring in of that first stage, which ends after lap 50?
Yeah, tyres are going to be a contentious issue anyway. I think due to the fact that you are running on a high degree banking turn, coming off to a low degree as well. We've got that asphalt track layout surface, which again could be an issue for some of them. And I think that it's just going to have to play it by ear. Take it nice and easy. We have just come to the end of qualifying, and we will be able to bring you up the grid very, very shortly. But if nothing else, it's going to be exciting. We've got Matthew Norberg on pole position with Alex Witt in 2nd, Christian Schrader 3rd. He jumped Stockner there in 4th place. Andrew Williams in 5th. Andrew Burrell in 6th. Brandon McLaughlin in 7th. Calvin Ross 8th. Hunter Carlson 9th. Davin Collicott in 10th. Clinton Holtman 11th. And Trenton Kimmel down in 12th place. Anna McAteer, your boy's in 12th. Then we've got Seth Pegg 13th, TJ 14th, Noel Jackowitz 15th, Joshua Keefe 16th, Armand Brusso 17th, Bradley Young 18th, Andrew Jamelin in 19th, Rob Sizemore 20th, and Anthony Radel finishing off 21st place. So 21 cars out on track here this evening, and I'm sure it's 21 drivers rip-roaring to go here, Ewan. What do we think? If you could put money on a strategy to say, right, if they do this strategy, they're going to win, what do you think the strategy would be for you if you were in the car?
I think what I would ideally like to do, now this obviously depends on cautions falling in the right place, which they never seem to do, but if they did, I would plan to go the first 50 laps, if possible, on that first set of tyres. Just keep your sets held back for a little bit later on. Make sure you still got them for later in the day. If you go the first 50 laps, you'll have 3 sets for the final 75, and that gives you a lot of wiggle room, if you like. Now, if the race goes green from then on, then obviously you'll only pit once, I suppose, in that final run, and you may feel like, well, I've not used my tyre sets properly. But what I think you really got to be careful of is getting to lap 50, having already done 1 tyre change, and then feeling, well, we're under caution here, everybody else is going into pit lane, so if I don't come in as well and go on to a 3rd set already, then I'm going to be in a bit of trouble on the restart. Well, that's the situation I wouldn't want to find myself in, because you're sort of stuck with 2 bad decisions there, and you don't really know which one to make. So then you've got 1 set of tyres for the final 75 laps, 1 change of tyres, I should say, to make. So I would do my very best to try and get to lap 50 without changing tyres, but as I say, cautions and the potential for really large drop-off over the course of this first stage could put a end to that strategy.
Yeah, I do agree. I think they're going to have to be decisive with their strategy. They cannot dwindle and dawdle and not, you know, make a definitive decision either. They've got to make sure they get it right there. So it will have to keep an eye and see what goes on here and how they work this one out. As you can see, the guys there, Matthew Norberg just going into turn 3. Andrew Burrell is your man. He's sitting in 6th place currently at the moment. Another one from the Orange Wheel Racing team. How do we know? Well, they've generally got orange wheels on their car. Coming into turn 4, the pace car is going to go off. We will be up and running and we'll be green very, very shortly. Stay tuned, hold on to your hats, get your drink, get your popcorn. The green flag has gone. Norberg did not even get off the line. Literally, that's allowed Alex Witt to get a big old jump with Stockner on the outside. Norberg held up that lower line there, Ewan, didn't even get off the line. He missed the start.
I think more pressingly, yeah, it really stacked up the inside line right behind him. So everybody who started on the inside line going backwards, including Andrew Williams, who's lost a couple of positions early on here. We've also seen Brandon McLaughlin losing positions early on. Hunter Carlson as well, outside of the top 10 after starting inside. So a really bad start for the inside line as the front of the line just didn't go anywhere and react to that green flag quite as quickly as everyone else was certainly hoping.
Yeah, Alex Witt's on that. He took the jump from the beginning, lap 2 of 1:25. He is out in front. Norberg sitting in behind, then Strada, Stockner, Williams, Burrell, Ross and Collicott. Quite a varied one there as well. Clint Holtman comes off at the back of turn 2. He gets a big old slide and hits down into the input. Manages to hold on to the car there. Hunter Carlson behind also had a bit of an issue. You can see the 81 going up into the wall. TJ's up 4 places in that Kelly Services livery. Then he's brought back for this one here. What do we think? They're not one line in, they're not 2 line in, they're kind of, well, they're 3 wide there at the moment as well, Ewan.
Very close to being 4 wide. It could be off the corner here. Be very careful about who's on your right and your left, because you can very easily get squeezed up into the wall here. To be honest, this circuit probably is just about wide enough for 4, but I don't think you'd really want to. I mean, even 3 wide, I'm getting quite nervous at seeing this. Kimmel round the outside, and the 52 should have a very good run off of the corner and stay ahead of Collicott and stay inside the top 10. But the battle is between Clinton Holtman and Spainhour at the moment. Up on the high side and into the wall, following into the wall. TJ Spainhour there. Who did he follow into the wall? Up on the outside there. Can't quite tell. Calvin Ross was it maybe? Yeah. So as soon as the driver in front of you goes in, you're sort of following the line almost of the driver in front of you, and they both went straight up into the outside wall as a result there.
Yeah, TJ shot down to the inside now, being, he's still sitting, unfortunately, behind Calvin Ross. Calvin's just lost that place to Holtman. Holtman's just made the run coming out of turn 2, coming out of 4. It goes underneath Calvin Ross, gets the job done there. Norberg still sitting behind, currently Alex Witt here. Do we think there's going to be tactics involved in this from the likes of Matthew Norberg? Do you think he's going to just sit there and hold station for a bit?
I mean, I don't really see the point in going to lead right now. It doesn't seem to me to be a pressing issue here to try and lead the field around. And if anything, if you're staying behind someone you believe you're faster than, then you can just conserve your tyres a little bit, keep them back for a little bit later on. Now, again, if a caution falls and you're still stuck behind and then you sort of feel like you've wasted a set of tyres, well, maybe, but these are the kind of risks you've got to take in oval racing. It can happen at any time, a yellow flag, and so you've just got to play the situation as it is in front of you and not worry too much about whether there'll be a caution or not.
Yeah, Norberg got a little bit wide coming out of turn 4. You can see Strada almost thinking about sticking his nose up the inside. He didn't, fortunate enough. He did back out and allow Norberg to come back down there as well. Andrew Williams is sitting in 4th. Currently, we had another one from the Orange Wheel Racing boys. Further back, we've got the likes of Brandon McLaughlin is in here. Andrew Jamilin, Devon Collicott, Hunter Carlson, Noel Jackowicz, which is surprising, being all the way down in 7th place. Of course, he finished 2nd in Iowa last time out. He did manage to get past Alex Witt on the final lap there, but he's currently sitting down in 14th. Seth Pegg, the man who changes his livery every single time, for every single race. He's got that's Nooks. That is Animal... What is it called on the Switch there? That's it, the livery for that game, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't tell what that is, to be honest with you.
It's Nook's Cranny. It's the... oh, hold on. Animal Crossing. It's Animal Crossing. Yes, yeah. Animal Crossing. So that's what Seth Pegg's livery is representing this time out. Brad Young in the Mountain Dew, of course, changes it every single time. And which one are we looking at this week, Brad? Well, it's, as you can see, coming out the sunlight there. Brad has got, looks like the normal Mountain Dew this time out. Armand Brusso sitting down at the back end of the field, but Rob Sizemore behind in there once again. Witt and Strada are now taking up the front. We've got Norberg and Williams behind, the boys from the Breakfast Club, and Matthew Norberg and Andrew Williams and Nick Stottner from Orange Will. Getting a little bit feisty up the front here. Strada's picked up the mantle behind, in front of Alex Witt, so maybe Witt has decided, well, he's going to let Strada have a go.
Well, maybe, or maybe he's had that decision taken out of his hands. Let's see here, he seems to be, to me, to be fighting this pretty hard, and they run low through 3 and 4. There was nearly contact between the two, and the car on the outside will also always get the better run off the corner, especially when you're being pushed by Norberg. That's the advantage of being on the outside here, is that when you get onto the straights, you are actually being pushed along. But look, oh, that's going to be no use now. Witt gets a big slide off of turn 2, and not only loses the lead, but loses second, third, and maybe fourth as well. Yeah, Norberg's gone underneath him there. Alex Witt, big old slide coming out of the corner. Into the wall he went. You can see everybody, they look like, it's really weird at the moment because they do look like they're struggling for grip early on. There's been a lot of people up into that outside wall and a lot of people getting slides on here. You know, are we underestimating what the tyre wear is going to be like? Well, let's have a look at lap times to take tyre wear into account. I personally don't think it's making that much difference at the moment, although these leaders will give a better indication this time round. I feel like the last laps are just interrupted by the fact they were fighting with one another all of the time. So let's have a look as they go over the line here. Best lap time so far in the race for Strada is a 32.5. He's just on a 32.7. That's only 2/10. That's not due to tyre drop-off, I wouldn't say. It's very, very minimal. It is interesting, though, that they're struggling so much. And interesting as well that it's not only one condition of car that all the drivers are suffering with. Guys up top were struggling with a tight race car earlier on as they were going into the wall. They weren't sliding their way into the wall, they just couldn't get it turned in time. But these guys, as we saw the side-by-side battle earlier on, were both getting really loose with one another and very nearly hitting each other. Very interesting that there's sort of two different symptoms happening for different people. Shows that some people really struggling with the balance, not just one way or the other, but in fact both tight and loose race cars being fought at the moment. Yeah, we'll have to see how they get on and what goes on and how they master that, whether or not they'll make changes in the pit stops, of course, and see what they can do about their race car situation. Jakowitz is on a little bit of a fly. He's now up into 12th, bringing along the 32 machine of Hunter Carlson behind him. He's just about... So is he going to back? Nope, Spainow's going to get a run on the outside as these guys go into turn 1/2. So good job there as well. TJ's got to be careful though. That's running very, very, very close to the wall on the outside, and it doesn't, as you say, it doesn't look like there's one make of car struggling, because obviously Alex Witt's in the Ford, we've got TJ in the Camry, we've had Calvin Rossi's in the Camry as well, Holterman's had a bit of a slide on in the Chevrolet, so and Alex Witt hits it again. They're struggling early on and we're only on 16 laps here. Yeah, and Stockner there, by the way, had a real big slide on the inside, so Holtman didn't really know where to go there as he was trying to make a way through. Now can't quite do it on the inside there. Has somebody stopped, or was that one of the iRacing weird cars that's just placed on the infield? I think it's just an iRacing made car. Anyway, that confused me for a second. Both of them really struggling off of 4 there, which does seem to have been the more pressing issue for these two, but finally that very long running battle has been interrupted and it's allowed Holterman to not only get into the top 5, maybe 4th place here as well.
Yeah, Holtman's gone up now. He's sitting in 4th, up 7 places. Stockner's down 1, Witt's down 4, Burrell's down 1. Got Trenton Kimmel is up 3 with Andrew Jamelin, who's up 8 places at the moment in that 65 machine. He's got Brown and McLaughlin, who is down 3 in front of him. Anthony Radel is up 4 and making strides into the back end of Devon Collicott. Bradley Young has not moved at all. He's only one of 3 people in the grid. Oh, he almost moved. Yeah, he moved. I almost moved off the racetrack there, Ewan, didn't he?
Yeah, he's just had a bit of a slide through 3 and 4, and the apron almost saving him in that sense. It's quite a weird phenomenon there when you're sliding and your front splitter actually touches the apron. It can sort of right you pointing the back right way again, but anyway, you'd rather avoid it altogether. And Bradley Young back on again, and hopefully really well again, although struggling again. Look at this, really struggling here.
Now he's had another slide on as Brad Young. That's going to release Arnold Brusso behind him. He's going to crack on and make his way through. I don't think we're on an exceptionally hot track. We're not. It's 24 degrees at the moment. So not frightfully hot at all for these guys to try and contend with in their cars, as TJ and Hunter Carlson are going side by side. TJ still running that high line and has been for pretty much most of the race. And as I say that, he just loses the place to Noel Jacqueline.
Yep, he's had to slide through 4 and loses a position. By the way, 24 Celsius is about 60, 70 in Fahrenheit for those of you who are, I'd imagine, using that temperature gauge. I imagine a fair few people listening to this will be, so just point that out there. But yeah, still, that's not helping, even though the conditions are ideal, I'd describe them as actually. But clearly there is grip that these guys haven't really found just yet, and it's causing quite a few problems. We're now about half a second slower, by the way, than the best lap time, so that's the drop off that we're seeing, about half a second in 20 laps. But even by the end of the first stage, that only means less than a second and a half. So that's not very much in my opinion. And so if this race does go green to the end of the stage, I wouldn't be advocating for pit stops really.
Well, we're going to see. Obviously we've got stage break at lap 50. They're all going to come in. They have to come in and try and get tyres on that car if they've gone 50 laps. I think they'd be crazy not to take the opportunity. It's almost like a free pit stop there. You know, maybe they could hold on to the sets a little bit later on in the race, but I think if that initial, if they do make it all the way through to stage without a single caution, I'll be very surprised if no one comes into the pits. I think that's the thing. I think they'd have to come in and get some fresh boots on.
I agree, yeah. If indeed that does happen, I think we are going to see the entire field coming in. And as I say before, I think most of there's more people getting in the wall. A bit of understeer through 1 or 2. I think the longer this, well, that's what I was saying earlier on, this is why I wouldn't change tyres even if there was a caution before lap 50, even though you would get an immediate gain from tyres. Unless it's maybe lap 44 or something like that, then you can justify staying out. But if it's coming out right now, I wouldn't be into the pit lane just yet, because that could really mean you're stuck with a very difficult choice by the time that caution comes out for the stage.
Yeah, they are barely spread out at the moment. You can see 16 seconds all the way down to Brad Young in 20th. The leaders are on their way coming out of turn 4. This is led by Strada at the moment. He's got a 1.2 second gap over Matthew Norberg, who's got Andrew Williams there in 3rd. Clint Holtman sitting behind him in 4th. They're fairly spread out enough here though, apart from, as I say, that Andrew Burrell and Calvin Ross, of course. Now, we know the rules is obviously if it's a solo spin, a caution shouldn't come out. If it's a multiple car, then obviously it will be a caution here as well. But are they at that point where they're far enough away from each other almost to be able to avoid any multi-car pile-ups?
Well, I think we are in that stage. Oh dear, there's another car in the wall. That's on the outside. Yeah, I think we are in that stage now where those real large pilots are going to be more of a rarity. There is that great group from 9th place on backwards, really. It's just behind this battle we're seeing here between Burrell and Ross. It's from 9th pretty much down to 17th, and you can see it on the track map there, sort of writ large for you. Is maybe the only place in the order where we can see something like that. But I think that the most likely time for a pile-up is going to be off restarts, really. There's, of course, that very famous one in real-life NASCAR 2015, 16, something like that. And it's that was right off the back of a restart on a championship race towards the final 20 laps or so. That's the kind of thing you're more likely to see a pile-up round here. It's unlikely, really, in a long green flag run like this, which this track is susceptible to. A really long, whether that's at the opening or the end of a race. Remember a couple of years ago, the end of the Homestead race was a real long green flag run too, as Calvin Ross drops quite a few positions here.
Yeah, he got loose, I think. We're just going to have a look and see now. Oh, yeah, he got loose and then all of a sudden heading down onto the apron. Managed to keep it on track. No caution, no, which is always good. But it has obviously taken him away from the Trenton Kimmel, Carlson, McLaughlin, Jamelin, Jakowitz, Collicott situation that he was nestled in. And Calvin Ross comes back in 14th place there. So he's still got time to recover. We're on 128 laps, which means there's 97 to go here. But I think that's about right. I think 97 is correct. But Andrew Burrell is going to be keeping up with Alex Whitney. Cam Whitney seemed to have struggled early on, started near the front, and now is down sitting in 6th place.
Yeah, it's been a weird one, really. You just wonder whether early on in the race, whether he was running over his head maybe, he's slightly going quicker than he could sustain for a long period of time. But don't forget that long side-by-side battle he had earlier on. Can't remember who he was with now. It was Stockner, I think. Yeah. Maybe. But it was a long side-by-side battle that really sort of interrupted things. And speaking of Stockner, is that him into the pit lane? It is indeed. He was making a bit of a hash of it, I've got to say, but he makes his way in after 30. Oh no, he stays out. So maybe he wasn't coming into the pit lane, but he was just really loose off of. Was he coming in here or not?
No, he wasn't. Sure? Yeah, I've got a funny thing. Watch his right. I think he got loose and then tries to bring it back. Manages to keep it out. I'd be very surprised.
He's so slow.
Because he got loose coming off the banking. If you have a look, he's got loose there, and now he's trying to catch up and couldn't correct it, and then ends up just missing the water barrels at the end of the pit lane there as well. Because obviously if he was coming in, he'd be coming in again the following lap, right? Because he would have heated the hell out of his tyres with that slide. But however, we are nearly 3 wide with Noel Jakowitz in the 91 of Collicott, with Jamelin going around the outside there once again. Kemmel in the mix. Calvin Ross is battling away with Pegg, and that's happening further up as well. I don't think Stockner meant that. I think he got loose and unfortunately slid down onto the apron.
I'm not sure, but it's difficult to tell from that replay, really. But yeah, I'm not sure. Jury's still out on that one for me.
What you think? You think he was? Okay, so let's go back. Let's
go back a bit.
Yeah, I'll go rewind, which is not an ideal. But if you have a look, he's coming off the banking, and then he's already sliding. Yeah.
He's not loose by the time he's decreasing speed though. And see, it's not like he was too quick and decided to bail out. He literally couldn't have gotten into pit lane without hitting the yellow things, whatever they're called in America.
The water barrels.
The pit wall. Yeah. So it's for me, he was trying to come in, and now he does come in. A couple of laps later, Stockner does make it into pit lane this time.
Yeah, he makes it clearly in, and manages to get in to the pit lane without any problems this time around for Nick Stockner. And we'll have a look. It was the same kind of line that he was, when it wants to behave itself, same kind of line he was taking last time. All right, it kind of was the same kind of line he was taking.
The
thing is, that's a very late pit entry. Would you not run in on the bottom end of the bottom end here? Let's have a look at Calvin Ross. If you can see, I would probably come down the back straight, and maybe if it is that tricky, start diving off to the left-hand side, because it looks very late. to be able to get down off that banking. I'm very surprised that it would have been left that late to be able to get into the pit lane. Surely.
I think it's very tricky. I mean, if you're doing it purely, really safe way of doing it, then yes, but it costs you so much time compared to doing it correctly, coming off of turn 4 and down onto pit lane, that it's not really worth it. You can't afford to lose that amount of time. So that's, I understand, to be honest, you have to do it really, try and come in off of turn 4, but I'm not saying it's easy. Speaking of which, Hochman there, that wasn't easy to hold on to that car either. Loose off for 4, but he saves it and he's still in 4th.
Yeah, he's still plugging along. Burrell's just about to try and go under Alex Witt here. Andrew Burrell there in that 121 car. Alex Witt on the outside in the 594 green Krispy Kreme delivery machine. Burrell does not make it this time, coming out of 1 and 2. He did get alongside. I am surprised, though, they haven't taken a stop, but I can also see why they haven't, considering the stage is only 13 laps away. Are we seeing people just sit back and think, actually, we can get to the end? They're all relatively around the same lap times. Nobody's quite in the 34s until you get down to the likes of Trenton Kimmel. He's just topped into the 34s on a 34.05. Jakowitz on a 34.04. And then you've got Anthony Rader on a 34.25. However, Rader was going hell to level at the beginning and now is up only 5 places here. You know, they're all relatively around the same lap time, so nobody's losing major time. Are they all trying to get to stage, do we think, or is there some form of master plan that's happening?
Well, it's clearly not everybody, because we've already seen 2 in, but I think most of them are going to, yeah, because the problem is that compare this circuit to one of the longer ones, maybe, not necessarily that we really have on this schedule, but I mean, maybe road courses, you can take that into effect. But take Pocono for an example, actually, later on in the season. That's to come in early July. Now, that is a very long 2.5 mile circuit where you can actually pit if you're relatively close to the leader and stay on the lead lap. Now, what you're going to see there, I think, is a lot of drivers coming in at that stage to stay on the lead lap, get a new set of tyres, and then you can bolt through the field once the pit stops have been made, the inevitable pit stops that come with the caution. But the problem you've got round here is that it's only 1.5 miles, not 2. So you've got the problem of going a lap down. Stockner at the moment is just going about halfway through the lap. He's over a half a lap down, or half a lap away from Christian Strada, who's leading the race at the moment, and is not going to get the lead back, to be honest, or the lead lap back before the caution. So the problem for Stockner is going to be being off of the lead lap, and that's why it's such a disadvantage to come in to the pit lane and to come into the pit lane at all and change tyres in this situation.
Yeah, because he will get the lucky dog. He is the first car of the lap down. The problem is obviously it's not going to benefit him. He needs to kind of get the lucky dog and then come into the pits. And if he can get that done under caution, which I don't think he can, because the lucky dog is normally a couple of laps in to the caution situation that the lucky dog goes through. So I'd be very surprised if he's able to get that in and still get pitted. But now he's going to be completely off cycle between him and Joshua Keefe. You know, they pitted down on lap 32 and lap 34 respectively, but they are out of sync. And if you're obviously going to the double rule almost, so you're going 32, 64, what they're going to be 96 to hopefully try and get to the end. So it may work out, but it's going to be slow until he can get to his next pit stop if he is reaching out of that 32-band pit window kind of such situation.
Well, let's see just I think this first part of the race is going to be very instructive as to what we're going to see possibly for the rest here, but the tyre drop-off hasn't been that severe, as we've seen in the YouTube chats. Terry Spenal saying that tyres are falling off a bit quicker now, and that is true, recommending they go to the high line, which I think a few people are doing and taking your advice, to be honest. But the problem is it's not a dramatic drop-off, so even only gaining a second a lap, you know, it's going to take you loads of laps to gain something meaningful in terms of a pit stop versus not making a pit stop compared to the amount of time that you lose. So I just don't think it's really worth it. You want to pits under cautions as much as you possibly can. But I think in the second part of the race, we are certainly going to see more pit stops happening under green, if indeed we get a long green flag run to the second half of this race as well.
Yeah, we've got to basically about 1.2, give or take, from what their best lap time is at the moment. So they are dropping off. They're reaching the 1.2 stage. You can see Holtman hanging on to that Chevrolet there, nearly kissing the wall. On the outside was Clint Holtman. So they are struggling a little bit. Burrell and Witt still close together, and I do mean close. 33.81 for Burrell, 33.75 for Witt. So not a massive difference between the two of them as well. Burrell now goes up to the high line. Witt drops down. That's also Brandon McLaughlin on the high line as well. So has Alex Witt been able to run that low line? Has he got a little bit left more, the grip on this car than the guys around him?
Well, let's see here. I mean, we are getting to the he's in the wall again for the 81. McLaughlin really struggling out there, but we're at the stage of the stage, weirdly, now where it is worth scrapping over these points. It is worth going for it if you possibly can make a difference. And it's not the stage anymore for sitting back, as I was recommending a little bit earlier on with the leaders. It's a time to go, really. You know that you're going to take these tyres off in 5 laps. You might as well use what's left of them now.
Yeah, go absolutely hell to leather, and these guys are doing it here as well. They're free wide. Brandon McLaughlin on the outside, Witt in the middle, Burrell's on the inside. No real doing at the moment. Strider looks like he's got this stage absolutely wrapped up here. 1.0 seconds ahead of Matthew Norberg. Norberg again didn't get off the start. That whole inside line had to check up. Norberg went absolutely nowhere, and that was jumped by Alex Witt, who unfortunately, since he's had that amazing start there, Ewan, has just gone backwards into 6th place.
Yeah, it's not been a difficult first part to the race, I think, for Alex Witt. I don't think that's unfair to say, but we are still seeing top 10, but very nearly top 5 running car at the moment, so that doesn't happen by accident, and I think he can very much make a difference from up here in a few moments' time, maybe later on in the race. Maybe he'll have some changes to make in this pit stop and he'll come out fighting for the second part of this race, but yeah, for a car to be still running inside nearly the top 5 at this stage, anybody's got a chance.
Yeah, just wanted to pick up on your leader at the moment. Strada is just making his way through traffic here, and I did wonder why the gap had all of a sudden come down below a second to Norberg now. It's only come down a 10th. That's Brad Young in front of us. Brad getting a big old slide on that, coming out of the exit of turn 4, and he's having a little bit of trouble with Joshua Keefe in front, but Strada is coming around to start lapping traffic here, so it will be end of stage on lap 50. That will be stage 1 done. Can we keep the clean stage 2, Ewan? They've done well so far. Can they hold it to the end?
I think it's going to be very difficult to go to the very end all clean and green, but we'll wait and see on that front as Strada now goes on to lap 50, still trying to put Young a lap down, but can't quite do it in time. There's the caution.
Yeah, he does manage to hold on. Who's going to come over the line in 5th? It is Witt, McLaughlin, Burrell, Hunter Carlson, Devon Collicott, Noel Jakowitz. That is your top 10. Strada, Norberg, Holtman, Williams, Witt, McLaughlin, Burrell, Carlson, Collicott, and Jakowitz. So we'll wait for Christian Strada to get into the pit lane, and then we'll have a chat with him. As I say that apprehensively, not being able to find him in the Discord.
Oh dear. We'll have a look round for him, because I'd like to chat to the driver who's been leading for most of this race, I think it's fair to say, so far. Got the stage there by nearly a second over Matthew Norberg, but it wasn't comfortable, I wouldn't say. He was definitely getting chased down towards the end there. Just as you saw the lap counter tick towards 50, we really started to see some of the maybe difficulties that the leaders were having, the leader was having maybe with tyres towards the end. We'll wait and see on that front, but yeah, it's been a decent start for Strada, who did indeed hang on to the stage.
Yeah, he may have hung on to the stage, but he didn't click and join a voice chat in the Discord. I can tell you that much because I cannot find him absolutely anywhere. So we'll have a chat with the second place man in the stage break there as well. We'll move Matthew Norberg up. We'll just wait for him to get into his pit box before I bring him in. I don't want to scare the living daylights out of him. So let's right, there we go. He is nestled in to the box there. The man that finished in second place in the stage break, Matthew Norberg, joins us in the booth. Matthew, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Good. Just finished up pit stop here.
Yep, I did wait for you to get into the box, mate. I didn't want to talk to you going down because I didn't want you to miss it. What's it like out there at the moment? How was it towards the end of that stage?
It was good. I thought the tires felt good the entire stint. I did a good job of managing them. You know, this is a really abrasive track with a lot of different lane choices. I think tonight the bottom lane is the dominant one, and that's, at least when I run at Homestead, that's what the lane I prefer to run. So it feels like it's favoring me tonight.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. How bad is it on tires? How bad were you struggling towards the end of that stage?
I was struggling a little bit. I think I did a good job of not burning them up too early in the stint and just, you know, managing throughout the whole course of the run. Because if you go too hard too early, then it's just going to kind of compound throughout the stint. So there was a little bit of racing action around me, you know, with Witt and Strader. But, you know, I managed my stuff. I kept close to Strader in the end there. I was trying some different lines, but couldn't quite get to his bumper to make the pass. But hopefully I'll get him in this longer second stage here.
What a quick pickup. What happened at the start? You didn't seem to go anywhere.
I'm tired. It's been a long day. I mean, I was not aware of how far down the zone I was. I thought I had a little bit more time to go, and I just, you know, was caught sleeping. So pretty poor start for me, and that definitely affected the rest of my stage there because would have loved the clean air for that stage to help keep those tires clean.
Yeah, it did look like a bit of a tough one. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. We'll pick you back down with the orange wheel, boys. And good luck for the rest of the race.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Now, there you go. That was Matthew Norberg. As he said there, Ewan, he was just sleeping at the start.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we saw, to be honest. I actually thought maybe a little bit more came into the fact that maybe he spun up the tyres, but no, he just admitted to not paying attention, so fair enough. That really affected not only him, but a load of others who were down on the inside lane like that. We'll look forward to this next restart and just how the drivers get away this time round. In terms of changes in those pit stops, by the way, Clint Holterman gained the most positions, I would say, ahead of Matthew Norberg, who we were speaking to there. But other than that, it's a largely similar order to the field. It will be Christian Schroeder on the inside line, getting things underway after winning that stage.
Yeah, the lights have come out. They have just sent the back markers through. That was Nick Stockner in 19th and Calvin Ross in 21st. They're going to have a bit of a mission. They're going to have to run full to get there. I can tell you now, Stockner did not go into the pits. Calvin Ross has also not gone into the pits. So this should put them back. If my maths are correct, they should be back on the lead lap.
One of them is.
Yeah, one of them is, isn't it?
Ross went 2 laps down. I don't know why, but he had 1 minute and 10 in the pit lane, so he went 2 laps down. He's now, he went 3 down. He's now just 2 down. He's got a long way to go back, and will need another couple of cautions before he's back really in the running. But Stockner is back on the lead lap, and that leaves us with 19 as we go back green.
Yeah, here we go. The pace car will peel in on the left-hand side very, very shortly. It will divert to the left. It is all under Strada's control. You can see now the Geico restart zone. We are green, green, green. Strada get the jump. Holtman's nestles in behind. Williams is there with Norberg on the inside. Alex Witt with his freshened tyres. Whether or not he's going to have a better stage run to the end of the race than he did in stage 1. He seemed to drop down the order there. As Norberg, Williams and Witt close together once more as all the field now are piled up. TJ's in there running 3 wide at the moment with Andrew Jamelin and Seth Pegg just put up the inside. Jamelin there giving him a little nudge on the way through. Brad Young nestles in behind him with Nick Stockner, Rob Sizemore, Anthony Radel all around him at the moment as well. Stockner's mentality, what do we think? He's going to be a lap, he's got a lap down, he's got his lap back. Is he going to be one man on a mission to get to the front?
Well, he's going to be on the oldest tyres of everybody here, so he's going to be saving things probably first up, and he's probably hoping for a quick caution here, and he very nearly got one as the 2 in front of him went to battle, but didn't quite get one on that occasion. He'll be open for an early caution here, though, so that he can change tyres pretty quickly and get moving through the field a little bit later on. For everybody else, they'll be running a little bit further into the race. If this carries on green, I wouldn't expect to see pit stops until lap 90.
Yeah, Jamie has just got underside Spainhour there as well. Is this going to be another beer run? It could well be. Mr. Spainhour Senior, sir. And it is the name that's been given to the races that go for a long period of green, and they have managed it for the first 50. I'm sure Armour Brusso will be exceedingly happy if they can get through this race with only the stage break caution, because poor Armand has been through the run of the mill, as we all know, with the longer caution races where it's literally turned grey by the end of them. So hopefully these guys will not put any more grey hairs on Mr. Brusso, and it's nice to see that they're taking various lines here, Ewan, as well. Some of them like the 91 below of Collicott running that low line. You've got McLaughlin getting a slingshot around the outside as well. Saving tyres, probably best to run that high line, but who knows how they're going to be able to get through here.
Who knows what they're going to have to employ over the course of the day to try and get to the NTR. I think most of the tyre saving will actually be behind us now, by the way, because I personally can't see them bothering to go the last 70 laps here in one go. I think that's just a stretch too far, to be honest, and there's not that there's no point doing that, but that, you know, you might as well come in and change the tyres. We saw how much everyone was struggling towards the end of 50 laps. You wouldn't want to go another 20 after that, in my opinion, so it'd be worth coming in. In my opinion, they'll split the stage in half, this final stage in half. They went back green with roughly 71 laps to go. So as I say, lap 85 to 90, we should be seeing them go into pit lane. That means only a 35 lap stint, and that means they'll be pushing quite hard.
Yeah, I think you are right. To be fair, if I was in the car, that's what I'd be looking at doing, the splitting it in half as well. I don't see the need to do anything else other than that. Run as hard as you can for the first half, run as hard as you can for the last part, and see how you get on. This is Brad Young alongside Calvin Ross. Calvin is unfortunately still, he's on, he's only still 2 laps down is Calvin Ross, and if they go green again, that is likely to be where he finishes unless something dramatic happens. Sizemore there on the inside. Young's just nearly taken Sizemore's rear end and manages to squeeze it up through on the inside. Brad Young being a bit brave there.
Not sure what he did that for, because there was no reason to get so close, to be honest, to the driver in front. So I'm trying to find Ross on the timing screen at the moment. I actually can't find him anyway. I thought I was going blind, but he's actually 21st, isn't he? He's just unlapping himself for a few of these drivers, so that's slightly misleading where we are at the moment. There we go. It always looks a bit odd, and it happens in real NASCAR, doesn't it, as well, when there's just one more than the graphics can quite take, and so it's just somebody who misses out slightly, but there he is at the bottom there. As I said earlier, still needs a couple more cautions to get himself back into the running.
Yeah, he definitely does. Whether or not he'll get them, I don't know, because they've all been driving pretty well. They're getting more and more spread out as they go along. Burrell and Witt carry on their battle as they had done in the first part of the coming up into the first stage. We're now on stage 2, the run to the end of the race. As you say, they should split it in hard. I think 85 maybe will be a good start to start looking at pit stops if you can get it to that far, of course. Alex Witt, out on the other hand, doesn't look like he's able to get it that far. I think he struggles still a stage after the pit stop and continue it here. And maybe he's just not got the pace to keep up with the guys in front of him.
Well, let's see here. It's pretty. It's not a good look though for him in terms of this early running, and of course qualifying is so different to the race. He was right up there in qualifying, starting on the front row, and took the lead early on as well as a result of Nürburgring, as he said at the time, sleeping a little bit off the start, if we're being honest. But this is very different racing over the course of 125 laps, and it is going quick over one, and it looks at the moment like Witt just doesn't quite have the long-term speed compared to his one lap speed, which was clearly very good.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing, Brandon McLaughlin is getting that outside line really working. He comes off this outside line. I've been watching him for the last couple of laps like an absolute slingshot, but Alex Witt just puts his car off that inside and lets it drift out. You can see he's already cleared Burrell here. And now is he going to try it again? Once more, we're on that high line. Can he get the run around the outside? He's been closing and closing and closing. No, not again. But it seems like Brandon McLaughlin utilising that high line as well, Ewan, and doing a good job in the process of it.
Yeah, the only problem is he keeps getting boxed in on every single straight, which is a problem. He goes side by side with Burrell, who's on the inside there, and wants to draft past as well, but just can't quite do it. Gets in behind Witt. Now maybe he can go for it, but he doesn't seem to want to make a move to the inside because that's not where he's running well. He's forced on the outside, and the longer he's stuck there, the longer he's going to be stuck in this sick position, really. But now maybe he can finally clear Burrell, and that could make things a little bit easier for him. But again, it doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter if the inside is open or not. He's never going to use it because he doesn't like being down there. He's got to somehow try and get alongside Witt while going round the outside, and that's proving tricky at the moment.
I think Spainhouse in the kind of the same boat at the moment with Carlson. Carlson's there as well. Unfortunately, both of them start running that outside line, and both men are managing to hold on to it. You see, they do come off at a rapid rate of knots. McLaughlin has lost a little bit of time to Alex Witt. That's allowed Burrell to start coming back at him again. But McLaughlin, I'm sure, will continue to run and run and run. Is the first sign of insanity doing the same thing over and over and over again? So are we looking, there? Oh! Just as we do that, he's died down to the inside.
The severeness of that, I'm not entirely convinced. That was intentional, actually. The way that he took to the inside there looked more like avoiding action to me rather than an action to make an overtake. Now, though, he slides up in front of Witt, and it returned them to the original positions, but that's still a win as far as McLaughlin's concerned. The problem he was having before is that the gains are always made on the outside off of the corner, but if the driver in front of you is directly ahead of you coming off of the corner, then you can't move to the outside because of the wall there. Instead, he's got to try and get something else to happen. By ducking to the inside there, he's effectively got himself further alongside, and going side by side into the corner now is always going to result in a McLaughlin victory. And Witt now is indeed even coming into the pit lane rather bizarrely.
Yeah, very early on lap 70, but you are right, and that took Brandon McLaughlin a good 5 laps after that restart to be able to even remotely get that position done. Now, as you say, whether or not the overtake was on purpose, and I'm not erring on the side of what you said as well, I don't believe it was. I think he just carried a massive amount of overspeed to Alex Witt, who had a slow corner, and McLaughlin didn't have anywhere else to go. And he managed to make it work, but I am surprised Witt's into the pit lane this early on. Now, Burrell's in that same situation that McLaughlin is in. He's trying to go pick up on the outside, but he's not quite high enough. He's kind of in that stage. He now nestles in behind Carlson. TJ's doing the same thing as McLaughlin in front, and I think that's the thing. If you're going to make something work, Brian McLaughlin, obviously TJ in the same team, Hunter Carlson is there as well. Brad Young sat in there from the FIE, the FART team. So they are obviously relaying messages and saying, look, the outside line is coming in now. Let's look at using that here. Why? No, that's the thing. Are they tyre saving? And as we said, we don't get why they would be. Or just the fact that they run better on there.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be as simple as that. It's all about finding where you're comfortable running. Now, some people don't like it up there. Some people prefer to be at the bottom and as far away from the wall as possible. But some people prefer to run up behind. They just feel more comfortable up there. It's not down to setup. It can't be. It's just down to comfortability with the car and where you're comfortable with it. That's the great thing about this circuit. In my mind, there's 3 designated lines to run here, and they're all being used at times. That's not especially good, though. Side-to-side contact just in behind there between Jamelin and Culliker as well in the 91, I think it was. And they all stay facing the right way.
Yeah, they have managed to keep it in the right way, which is great for us, of course, and amazing for them. So they're allowed to have any cautions. Is the rules. One car, you should be fine. But TJ now nestling up on that top line, running it quite comfortably. Brown and McLaughlin still in there with Andrew Burrell. Burrell's just obviously made that move going on that inside line. Is Burrell going to get through on lap 74? Is that outside line kind of dropped off a little bit? I'm expecting Burrell to cover off McLaughlin's run. Not really there, Ewan. And I thought he might have just completely blocked him and put the car in front of him.
Didn't have full confidence that he was clear, I don't think. And so just edged his way into the outside. But now he is for sure ahead and running better as well, somehow. Looking like McLaughlin was quite strong earlier on, actually, but now maybe suffering a little bit as a result of, well, I don't know what the reason would be, but he's certainly not quite as quick as Burrell, and that he's certainly suffering as a result of scraping along the wall. That's not going to help at all. And so Carlson will now try and go through on the inside. That could be a little bit tricky. We've got 50 laps to go here, by the way. And one theory, maybe I'm wondering as to why people are going up high so early on, is maybe a lack of having to save the tyres means that they're able to run sort of where they want right from the very start here, if they think they're only going to go maximum 35 laps on this set of tyres.
Okay, realistically, can they get to the end of the game?
Not sure. I think in some ways, the tyres can go as long as you want. I mean, you can go forever on a set of tyres in theory. It's just a case of what state they're going to be in by the time you finish with them. I think the more pressing issue is fuel, which I'm not actually totally convinced they'll make it on.
No, they got 85% of fuel here. So they should realistically, I think they might get about 45, maybe the most out of the car, I think, going on around here. Alex Witt was just trying to put obviously that car back underneath TJ. Alex Witt did pit on lap 69. Little bit of a strange manoeuvre from Alex Witt, but I suppose when you're not running right anyway, it could be paying off trying something different.
I'm not sure about the call, to be honest. You've got to stay on the lead lap at all times if you can help it, and that was a very, very early stop. Unless he was pitting as early as possible, so that he knows he could make it on fuel, and that would mean what, there would be 55 laps to go at that stage, 56 laps to go. So maybe he thought, right, we've got into the fuel window now. Now is the right time to come in, but I'm not entirely sure that is the best call, because what if there's a caution from any point from now until the next caution, if there is one, he's going to be a lap down and trapped a lap down as well.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that one pans out for him there. Noel Jakowitz making gains, up 8 at the moment. That's Brown and McLaughlin in front of him. Hunt Carlson running behind him as well. Noel's just kind of gone about his business. Haven't really spoke much about him here tonight. And he's just gone about doing his business. We were a little bit concerned the fact that he was quite far down, sitting down in 15th, making up 8 places as well. But then, well, I suppose from that aspect, knowing what NASCAR's like here, and it doesn't matter if you start last, you can still be first by the end of the race, right?
No, absolutely, yeah. By the way, Andrew Williams comes into the pit lane, one of the drivers Jakowitz is trying to chase down in the point standings. But yeah, it's sometimes good to have a quiet race, I think, from the start up until this point. I know we're going into the final third now, and so really you do want to start to make a bit more of a noise in terms of your speed, and maybe running back here is a sign that the speed is not quite there compared to the likes of Strader and Halterman, who are leading now by a little bit of a margin. But it is good to stay out of trouble, and that has certainly been the case for Jakowitz, although most drivers have stayed out of trouble, to be honest. It's been a very clean race.
Yeah, the outside line seems to be not working now. The likes of Brown and McLaughlin slowly dropping back away from Burrell. TJ's in the same situation. still running the high line, but unfortunately dropping back a little bit here. Seth Pegg's on that outside behind him. And that is Calvin Ross underneath him in the cause. He's just got another slide on. Armor Brusso's tucked in behind that one. The leader, Strada, is out in front by nearly a second here. Hard on Nana's nerves, Andrew, she says there as well. And Andrew Kimmel, welcome in. Go Trenton. Sorry, I didn't see you there popping yourself in on to that one. So thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get yourselves involved. Nearly at 2K. We're on like 1,986, I think it is currently at the moment. So we're almost pushing there. Can we get there by the end of the month? That would be absolutely amazing. But the likes of Brandon McLaughlin slowly starting to drop back. We're seeing more and more pit stops now, Ewan, as well. Lap 84, 85, that's probably whereabouts we predicted.
Yeah, I would have personally gone on to, because I'm a bit of a...
Is this
I
your
like it to be in
OCD kicking in?
I like it to be in half if it's possible. So I would personally be, well, it's slightly annoying for me actually, because the final, it's 71 laps. That's obviously not possible, but anyway, that's that doesn't really matter. I'd personally be going a little bit further. I think also it helps a little bit for the race, to be honest, just to go a little bit further, try and even it out a little bit. Because if you think about it, you're trying to spread the tyre wear evenly if you can. Now that doesn't really make much sense, but you want to try it. Basically, if you're pitting this early, your tyres will be a little worse off at the very end of the race than they are when you're at the end of this stint, which for me is not quite maximising what you've got. But of course there are other factors other than tyre wear to think about when you're making a pit stop. If you're in a bit of traffic like this, I would certainly be advocating for one of these five in this group to be good.
I think you are right. I think you are right. Norberg's there below. He's just come out of the pits, comes in behind Noel. Noel in fourth place at the moment. There's also Alex Whitman there. Andy Rader has just gone into the pits. I don't think we normally talk about, obviously, the situation with draft. You know, do you want to come in as a couple? Do you want to come in on your own? Are we really that worried about the draft at Miami? It's only 1.5 miles, right?
No, you wouldn't be worried about that round here at all. It's more about your own speed and how you get around the circuit rather than those who are around you. As Jacowicz stays low but doesn't come into the pit lane just for the moment. Yeah, I mean, if anything, you want to be in clean air in my mind. The slipstream might affect you a little bit on the straights, but they're not long enough straights for it to really be worth it, versus the gains you can make in the corners when you're running on your own and choosing your own line.
Yeah, I think you are right. As you look back, that's Brandon McLaughlin behind us with Hunter Carlson down Collicott. That's what Carlson is seeing. The back end, the front end, sorry, down Collicott. You see Brandon McLaughlin still running that high line. If nothing else, he's consistent. I think, you know what I mean, he's still up there. He's sitting in fifth at the moment. Obviously, he's got to make a pit stop going into the last, what are we now, 35, give or take, laps remaining. Obviously, they've got to be looking at now, is he going to be changing anything towards that final stage, almost stage run, I suppose, to the end of the race here, Ewan, or is he just going to carry on running the outside line? He's done it for the last 88 laps. He might as well do it for the last ones.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look like he's going to be changing anytime soon, I don't think, based on the lines that we're seeing at the moment. And of course, you might well see, well, he's going backwards, he's being overtaken, so he's got to change something. Well, that may be true, but if you start running down lower and at a line you're not comfortable with, and you'll start to lose even more places. So it's very much worth sticking to your guns, I think, in these situations where you may be losing a bit of a few positions, but it's better than it could be going if you were running somewhere you don't want to. So I think he's more than entitled to stay up there as Holtman now comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, Holtman there as well. Connie got forward about coming up and then realised that Carlson was on that outside line. I suppose at the end of the day, it all goes back down to confidence, right? And we know that confidence is a massive key within iRacing in general. If you're confident in the car, you can push it a little bit more. If you're not confident, you start doing things that change your minds and consistently doing that. But Strada's just come into the pits, TJ's in as well. But McLaughlin doesn't seem to be worried too much. I'm sure he's coming in now because he has just dropped down, yeah. Ooh.
Oh no, oh, who was that just behind? Someone missed the pit lane there. Devin Collicott missed the pit lane. How did that happen? because where is it?
He was behind
So it's just gone past. He's got caught up behind McLaughlin. He couldn't slow it down in time, couldn't get it turned, was locking it up. He couldn't get into pit lane. He would lose so much time as a result of that.
Yeah, whether or not he's going to be able to pop it in this time around, surely he's got to, if that was his intention. But is that the late entry pit lane run that caused that problem? Was he looking at the fact that he wasn't expecting Brown and McLaughlin to go into the pits, so therefore he was taking his line and then McLaughlin come down and took it away?
But maybe he might not have been planning to come in that time, but may well have just decided to because of those in front of him. That certainly would line up with the fact that he missed pit lane entirely. It's something that you really do have to practice at Homestead, getting onto pit lane. It is very, very tricky. I wouldn't say the most difficult out of everywhere on the NASCAR circuit, but I would say it is certainly up there as Hollicutt gets passed by Stockner, unlapping himself, finally unlapping himself, and he'll probably be hoping for a caution very soon so that he can come in and get some tyres changed too.
Yeah, well, if anybody's done Martinsville, that pit lane is not the most easiest, and then you go in and then you have to trawl round it right the way around the other side, so it's not an ideal pit lane. It seems to go on for absolutely ever at Martinsville. That's one of the pit lanes that's tricky, along where clearly Miami is here, because it has caused couple of problems. One, we think for Nick Stockner looked like he was entering the pit lane and completely missed it, and then there again for Devon Clint Holtman wasn't, he was trying to get in behind Brian McLaughlin, so we'll have to keep an eye out on the front runners of the pit stops. Now the most recent one as such who pitted before everybody else but is still nestling in the top 10 is Andrew Williams. He pitted on lap 80. We've got Alex Witt on 69. He's just inside the top 10, sitting at ninth for the moment. Williams and Witt seems to be a long way off kind of where everybody else is here. What are they planning? What do we think is going on in that car at the moment? Because they're completely away from almost everybody else's cycle.
Well, first of all, the order is very ungenuine compared to what we might see at the end of the race, certainly than what we might expect to see even in 10 laps, because the top four at the moment have yet to come into a pit lane for the second time. Now, I'm not sure whether that means they're going to actually try and go to the very end of the race here, or whether that just means they're waiting for a caution to capitalise on compared to the others. But Andrew Williams is leading those who have made 2 stops so far. Strader and Holterman have lost a lot of time because Williams came in 10 laps before them, and Matthew Norberg came in about 7 laps before them both. 6 or 7 laps before them both, so they both jumped ahead, and it's allowed Andrew Williams to get a real gap. But the question is going to remain, will Devon Collicutt stay out for the remainder of this race, or will we see Andrew Williams have to chase down Collicutt on the road, or are we going to see pit stops here for the 91 and everybody else inside the top 3?
Can he even get there on fuel?
Well, exactly.
It's 85%. It's not the full run. I don't know if Devon Collicutt can. Pitted on lap 51, and even by that point I expect the tyres to be absolutely screaming at him, and iRacing giving him a warning that he needs to go and change tyres. Rob Sizemore's in there as well, because tyres do just give out on this game, guys. They do just give out when they get to a certain point, and you end up with a meatball flag that you've got to go in and actually physically make that stop. Strada there nestling in 7th. The early leader led pretty much most of the stage run in stage 1, sitting in 7th place. Last pitted on lap 90. So he's one of the later ones that are pitting here as well, with Clint Holtman in front, pitting 1 lap earlier, to be fair, on 89. So these guys are going to be are we looking that they're going to be the front runners towards the end if some of the earlier ones have got to go in?
Well, I think we're still a bit unsure as to whether some of these can make it to the end of the race, but how much extra speed are these two even going to have compared to those who even undercut them and who have made 2 stops so far? I'm not entirely sure. Look at how close Shredder's running to the wall there. Very, very close indeed as Holterman stays ahead in 6th position, but look at some of the gaps they've got ahead of them. They're 16.5 seconds off of the lead at the moment. I'm sort of secretly hoping the leaders can go to the end here and we're going to see a very exciting finish, because I think it would be if they can make it.
I think if they make it, I'll be well impressed. I've got to be honest, and I don't know if they can. Brian McLaughlin is down there, and Andy Rader, Carlson, and Stockler. Stockler, of course, was that 2 laps down after the early pit stop. He had it now managed, one lap, no. Yeah, 1 lap down, and then managed to get it back, and is now on a lead lap wrestling in 11th place. So great recovery from Nick Stockner, but Andy Rader in front. Brian McLaughlin, is he going to be changing his line any different to what he's done for the most entire race? Well, let's have a look. The answer is no. We're still doing the same thing, but we're now down in 14th place here compared to where we was at the beginning.
Right, I think it's the most comfortable up there, as we discussed before, so I think he's absolutely entitled to run up there, but the mark of who is good or not at a certain track, I think, is the adaptability. How many different lines can you run? Unfortunately, I don't think he's quite got that, as Andrew Williams moves up to 3rd place now, gap below 12 seconds. He's gaining roughly every time, about half a second a lap on Collicutt. That would mean he would catch him right at the end of the race. That's why I'm hoping that it's going to be a grandstand finish between the two of them, because I think it really could be. But the odds are getting lower every time. Armand Brousseau now into the pit lane, leaving just 2 drivers out there, having made only 1 stop.
Yeah, one of them is the Australian in the Animal Crossing liveried machine here. One, Mr. Seth Pegg, up 11 places for this one, sitting in 2nd. He's even done something incredibly brave.
Oh, caution! Wow. Well, this changes everything.
Oh,
I think it's Stockner, is it?
Yeah, just as we bigged him up.
He's really loose off of 4. Loses the car and can't save it. Comes to a stop on the start finish line, trying to save it, and that's a caution. So now the choice oh dear, he's trying to get going. Now the choice gets very interesting indeed, because Collicutt and Pegg are definitely going to come in. That's absolutely certain. But what do the drivers who came in only 10 laps ago or so do? At minimum, some of these drivers, like Hunter Carlson, who's one of the last to come in on that round of pit stops, they've only been in 11 laps ago. What do they do here?
They're all going to dive in. Holtman's there, Strada's in, Witt's in, Burrell. I think pretty much the majority of the field is going to dive into this pit lane. I'm going to have a chat with the man himself. Where is he? Well, he's just pitted. Actually, as Armand Brousseau, he pitted on lap 101. So we'll have a quick chat with the big boss man himself, Mr. Brousseau. Armand, how are you, sir?
Hi guys, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Did you call that caution?
No, I think iRacing threw that.
One person's spin. I don't think it was really needed. But look, let's not go into details. But hey, look, we'll take the first force caution through the whole race.
Yeah, just on bad timing for me. I stayed out till my tank was empty and I went into pits, and then we get a caution. So I'm a little angry, but I'm happy that the guys have done better. Hopefully we don't just bring out more cautions then.
Well, yeah, we've only got 22 to go. I'm sure they should be fine there as well. Tell us why you're angry about the fact that I did see you coming out of the pit lane just as the caution was thrown.
Yeah, I was still in pits when the caution was thrown, so I'm going to be trapped a lap down most likely. So I would have been in 3rd if I just had one more lap of fuel. So it is what it is.
Well, listen, you've got 22 to go here, so there's still an opportunity. You know what I mean? Let's be real. And be upbeat, Mr. Brousseau, upbeat.
I'm always upbeat. Just, I know I don't have pace, so I needed all the help I can get, and instead I get all the unlucky stuff. But I'm real happy that we've had a real clean race, and as long as it stays clean, I can sleep well at night.
You can. Hopefully save you getting any more grey hair.
There's not much non-gray hair, so we're pretty much long gone at this point.
All right, bud. Well, I'll pop you back down. Have a good one. Enjoy yourself, and let's see how you get on.
Thanks, guys. Great work tonight.
Take care. He said he's always upbeat, but he didn't sound upbeat. Or was that just me?
No, no, but you don't have to sound a bit, I suppose, to be feeling that way. I can certainly see why, because first of all, I think the situation for him is a little bit better than he's making out there. He will get the wave around here, so he will be on the tail end of the lead lap. But as he says, there was the chance for him to have been third a couple of laps ago if that caution had come out a couple of laps earlier. So that would have been the real disappointment for him, I suppose. But what we have seen under that caution in terms of pit stops, by the way, is Brandon McLaughlin staying out, and he was the only driver to do that. He's now getting overtaken by people. I don't know quite what's going on there. What is going on here?
They should get released by the safety car. They have.
Oh, that's okay, sorry.
And now they're lining up, yeah. So now they're lining up.
Yeah.
So,
that's
okay.
fine. So, yeah, he's the only one who stayed out. Every single other driver on the lead lap came in, other than those trying to get round again for the lead lap, like Bradley Young. And TJ didn't come in either for some reason. Not really sure why, but yeah. So that's the situation. Most of the drivers on new tyres. But don't forget, the order is turned on its head almost compared to where it was earlier. Schrader and Holterman have been the class of the field in terms of speed so far, but they'll be starting in 6th and 7th on the, when we go back green again here.
Yes. But is Brandon McLaughlin going to get eaten alive here? This is the fear of that start. He's got 10 laps, I'd say 10.
Well,
is he going to get eaten alive by the people on the fresher tyres? Well, we're going to find out very, very shortly. Pace car's in. That's released Brandon McLaughlin. Geico restart zone on the left-hand side. We are up and running. We're now green. McLaughlin's got the line. Very little wheel speed from Brandon McLaughlin. Devin Colcott, Andrew Williams. I'm going to see McLaughlin head straight up. Whoa!
Oh, no.
There you go.
Crash. And a big crash at turn 1 as well. Not sure who's involved, but it's just in behind the leaders. Look at that on the outside there.
Oh,
who's involved
Seth
here?
Pegg.
So Seth Pegg's the one who's initially
What's that contact with
shape.
Strada?
Does he?
Yes.
Does he get loose himself? Yeah, it's the 29, yep.
It is. Christian
Certainly is.
Strada.
After running out front all day long, back in the pack and contact made, he avoided it all, but on the outside, that's what, 6 cars involved? 7?
Oh.
There's the icing on the cake for a few of them. Andrew Burrell, one of the big ones to get involved in. The purple there, you can see he's lost his front bumper.
Kibble's just stuck against the wall. He's just got nowhere to go. Look, Seth's coming back up. Trenton, it's one of them. It's one of them things, isn't it, when you can see and you're just stuck there. You've just got nowhere to go. But this should now spin it around again, right? Now, do they decide to go? Are they going to? Is Brandon McLaughlin going to go in this time?
No, he definitely won't come in this time. But what I was going to say is that this caution actually really advantages him, because effectively what it's done is he hasn't had to do any defending. He has still got the lead, and he's taken off about 25% of the remaining distance to go here. So from 20 to go, he'll now be going back green again with about 15 to go. And so the chances of him getting a good or better result than he otherwise might have done has just gone up by the very fact that this caution came out that was nothing to do with him.
So do we think that if Brandon McLaughlin can get off the line, and for some reason there might be another caution, do we feel that Brandon McLaughlin could be in the position to take a victory? He's run the highlight all day.
I don't think he is going to be eaten alive quite in the way that you're expecting here. You forget that the gap between the tyres that McLaughlin has got on, don't forget he only put them on, what are we, 28, no, sorry, 18 laps ago. He's coming up to the end of the 19th lap on these tyres. A lot of those laps were under caution. These tyres really are not very old, and the drop-off is not awfully severe anyway. Now, if he'd been out there for 50 laps, then sure, it'd be a second and a half, and he'd really be struggling. But, you know, only 19 laps, he shouldn't even be at half a second a lap just yet. That is more than enough to defend with, I think. I think he might have trouble anyway because he's not had the best car all day long and he's struggled to run anywhere other than right up next to the wall. Now, if there's anybody who can run down low and run down low well, they could find themselves getting through on McLaughlin here, but he's by no means going to get eaten alive. No way.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Let's see how we get on with 16 to go there. Anna, oh no, he was running so well. Yes, he was, your boy there as well. Howie, welcome in. Can't hear anything on restarts. iRacing needs to be turned down. Okay, I've dropped it down a little bit there. And we'll see how these got on. Obviously, it's going to be briefly louder because you are going to have 21 cars revving up to speed. But let's see, this should be off this lap. We're going to have 15 to go on the restart. Brian McLaughlin, Andrew Williams, Devon Collicott, Matthew Norberg and Clint Holterman. Now out of that, or the orange ball, Andrew Williams, Clint Holterman, Matthew Norberg, Nick Stockner and Andrew Burrell. So I did think Devon Collicott, but Devon Collicott is not in the OWR team here either. So yeah, for Devon Collicott out of sync. But obviously the orange wheel boys around him, teams should make a difference, right?
Well, you'd oh dear, bumping on the outside line between a few there, but yeah, maybe. I kind of feel at this stage in the race that all bets will really be off, and everyone will be racing for the win as best as they can. But we'll wait and see on that front. It's going to be an interesting restart, a very telling restart here, I think, and hopefully we're going to get a nice green flag run to the end because it'll be very exciting. I've got to say, still I believe the fastest drivers in this race, Holtman and Schrader, only starting 5th and 8th. They'll be on the inside line together here, and they've still got some work to do if they want to return to their previous positions of 1 and 2.
We're going to find that out very, very shortly as these guys are entering into turn 4 now. Pace car lights are off once more. And we're going to be up and running once again. The pace car is going to peel off to the left-hand side now. We're going to be entering into the Geico restart zone very, very shortly. There you go. The green flag has gone. Williams did not go anywhere on that outside line. There was a big old push from Matthew Norberg. Collicott's taken up the mantle and put himself in second. They're spread all across the circuit at the moment. Alex Witt's in there. Strada's in the mix. Shamelin, Noel Jakowitz, Norberg, Holterman. Witt has just been blocked off by Norberg on that outside run once again. Williams has taken Collicott, but how much longer there? And again, that lower inside line didn't really go anywhere.
It's really helping McLaughlin. There's contact in the background. Do they stay all facing the right way, or do we get a caution? It looks like they've all saved it. Remarkable. There was a 3-wide moment with contact and loose race cars all over the place there, but we've stayed green. This is all helping McLaughlin, who's off to a great start. Half a second ahead. Now Williams gets through on Collicott, and you would argue he's probably been faster today than the driver of the 91, but how much faster can he be than the leader here? As right round the outside goes Schrader. He's struggling to find the room to make places at the moment.
Oh, Alex Witt.
Oh!
He's pirouetted. Now if Stockness
Oh, he stayed green for that.
If Stockness was yellow, why wasn't that yellow?
Unbelievable. He was down below the white line on the inside, so iRacing doesn't register as him on the racing surface, and so doesn't bring out the yellow flag.
Oh, Alex Witt might be a little bit grumpy on that one. Strada's going around the outside. That outside line seems to be coming in. Norberg's going to be looking at blocking him on there as well. He did do it this time. Surely Strada's going to look at going into turn 1. He's going to do exactly the same thing again. There was a brief. I think he had
the
to
lead
check up there as well. Williams and McLaughlin. McLaughlin's still on that outside line, not running the pace of Strada, but nestling into second now. He's going to get interested. 11 to go here. Ewan, what do we reckon?
Well, Williams is surely going to be through here on McLaughlin, not least because of the tyres, but also because Williams is really strong down low, and that's sort of the worst kind of car for McLaughlin to come up against. He doesn't really have anything to defend with when someone like that comes up behind him. Williams so much faster than him, and now the floodgates may be open. McLaughlin is going to hang on here decently well, but how well he hangs on will determine the outcome of this race. If he defends for a few laps from Holterman here, Williams will be clear to win this race.
Does he need to drop off that line? Do we think Williams?
I think he can.
He's got to try and do something, hasn't he? Because you told me he wasn't going to get eaten alive. He's lost one, and then you say the floodgates might open. Is he going to lose another one? Which he has done.
I still think that this is going better than it might otherwise be going if he was down low. It may not be looking good right now, but it may be looking even worse if he was running down low. I mean, we just don't know that because we haven't really seen him do it all day, to be honest. But I still think it could be better than what it might otherwise look like. Look at this, side by side for fourth place. Norberg and Strader are really sort of sabotaging each other in a sense. Neither of them are going to win the race if they keep going on like this. Looks like they're both going to go through on McLaughlin here. 3 wide to the inside. The two of them with those newer tyres should have enough to get through, but no, they're still 3 wide.
There's contact with Strader and Norberg. Little bit of door banging with Strader and Norberg. That's purely because McLaughlin got a run off that outside line. Is he going to come once again here? I don't think this is done. Norberg's had to get up. He's had to get up. Now McLaughlin's off that outside line. Norberg had to get up there and block him.
Does he follow him though? Yeah, he'll just follow him. He'll stay up high, but Norberg doesn't even really like being up there. Likes being in the middle, or maybe even down low, but there's no chance of him getting there. Trader in the way down low, but it looks like these two are maybe resigning themselves to a battle for third place as the two leaders go off up the road together.
I wish McLaughlin had followed Norberg on that lower line. Norberg's got to come up again. Now McLaughlin's dropped down. Follow Strader through. He's bumped, give him Strader an absolute bump there. McLaughlin's not where he wants to be. We've seen him run that. Norberg's not anywhere at the moment. McLaughlin's not where he wants to be. He's run that high line all day. Now he's trapped on that inside line. Is he going to drop in behind him? Yes. Did he do that on purpose? Possibly. But at the moment, Williams is out in front here and is doing an exceptional job. We've got 6 to go.
Yeah, he's driving really well, is Williams, at the moment, and is not only holding the lead, but extending that lead. 5 to go now here at Homestead, and he is looking good for a race win. Don't forget that he, alongside Clint Holterman, who's chasing him down at the moment, of the first and second place drivers in the point standings. At the end of this race, we will be halfway through our 12-race calendar. At the start of today, there was just 8 points separating them, and this would be a huge result for Williams to not only slash that advantage, he might even take over the lead, but I'm not entirely sure how the bonus points will be totted up, so I can't say that for sure, but it will certainly be a smaller gap.
Oh, there was somebody off the side. That was Devon Collicott. They got that all a little bit wrong. You can see Strada's holding on to that third place there. McLaughlin's still on the outside. He's still just doing his thing. You can't go up. He's there. He's there. Oh, my dearie Jesus Wiggles. He was already there. Hunter Carlson had run that outside line. He got a run of Devon Collicott. And to be honest with you, Ewan, I don't even know if Devon even saw him.
Well, you'd imagine the spotter would have been telling him. So I'd hope that they would both know about the existence of one another, but you do never know, I suppose. So there you go. But a good battle for 6th place here, which is pretty much confirming McLaughlin in 5th. I think he'll be able to hang on, although Carlson has been able to get through quite nicely there and has got a couple of laps to give this a go for a top 5.
Yeah, Strada's just lost a place to Norberg. Norberg's come underneath him. We know that outside line's going to get a run. So Strada's going to get there again. Norberg tries to...
Oh, caution! Wow. It's going to be overtime. And it is the last placed driver, Bradley Young. Is it?
Yes.
There it is. How did he manage that?
This is what I mean. How did Alex Witts not get a caution and it looked no different to Bradley Young?
Well, the difference is he was further round when he was still on the racing surface. There, look, he's all the way around when he's still above that white line. Now, all this doesn't matter when he's below that white line that you can see that he just doesn't quite cross there. Not that other one. I don't know what that other one's about, but the one that's closer to the wall, if you like. That's the one that matters, and anything above that is considered the racing surface. If you're backwards but below that white line that Williams is just running parallel to at the moment, then it doesn't matter at all. And so that's effectively why we've got a caution with 2 laps to go. Were we about to see the white flag there, or were we about to see 2 laps to go? I think we were about to see 2 to go, weren't we?
Yeah, we should be, but we're going to have a overtime GWC. I think iRacing cautions are entirely based on speed and rotation on the surface. Does lead to some inconsistencies.
Does, yeah, certainly. And that one we saw earlier on with, you were pointing out earlier, who was it now? Stockner, was it?
Yeah, Stockner.
Stockner, yeah, that was the other one. I think that was partly down to the fact he was stopped on the racing surface, not the fact that because normally you have to be more than 90 degrees sort of facing the wrong way, if you see what I mean. If you're still pointing the right direction, in at least to some degree, then it is okay. But I don't believe if you're stopped, it is okay. Yeah, I think you've got to be moving. So that may be why that caution came out, but I don't really know.
Well, where do you go here? You're on 22-lap old tyres. McLaughlin's on 33-lap, give or take, old tyres now. Does anybody take the change, do we think? Or are they going to run and hope to get to the end here?
They'll all stay out here, I would have thought.
No.
It's not one of those... You think?
Heath's in the pits, Kimmel's in the pits, and Radels are in the pits.
How many of those were a lap down?
But they are now, yeah.
Joshua Keefe was the only one who's on the lead lap, and you might as well if you're last. But if you are at this circuit, you're not seeing much tyre drop off, and we're not, to be honest, here tonight, then you might as well stay out, even in the case of McLaughlin, who's on the longest stint to the end. His stint's not even that long, to be honest, so might as well stay out. Everybody needs to stay out here. The gain that you get from coming in is not worth it in just 2 laps.
Mr. Spainhour, come on. James, love you all, but without Kenton, you all sound like Mary Poppins. Thank you very much for that one. Get your southern on, James. No, I can't do it, mate. I sound bad. So there we go. It's Mary Poppins booth this evening.
I'm not here every week, just in case anybody's worried.
No, they're not. I don't think they are. Just obviously with the fact that we've got both Englishmen in the booth. That's what.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. But I think, I'm not taking over, is what I'm saying.
No, I think. Let's be realistic as well, though. Whenever you hear an English accent, we don't always sound like we've got our mouth wide open with a silver spoon shoved up our posteriors, should we say? You know what I mean?
Mary Poppins is just an old movie, is it?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Oh, well, they've done the old one, the original, and you've got the remake, Mr. O'Leary. So you can go and at least go and check them out. But when people do English accents, they make us sound like we're very much posh all the time. And we all speak like this with very wide mouths. We don't. So there we go.
It's a very small percentage of the population that actually do speak like that. So, but that's what we sound like, opposed to the others, isn't it? We can tell the difference, but it's more difficult when you're not from England.
Yeah, exactly. Bro hasn't seen Mary Poppins. No, how he hasn't. We'll tell him off there. We'll get him on it. We'll make it his homework, and I'll expect a full video book report next week, which I'll read out to you. But anyway, we got 3 to go. Pace car's getting the own. Mr. O'Leary with his homework. Right, here we go now as well. What's going to happen? 3 to go. Williams leading the way. With Holterman, with Norberg, with Strada, ball Strada right back in, and we're green for this GWC. Orange Wheel in first, Orange Wheel in second, Orange Wheel in third, and it just leaves Christian Strada in that Reese's livery machine, the only one that's not part of Orange Wheel. 2 to go now, it's all going to get hectic.
Certainly is. Can they get round again to the white flag? As a real load of speed for Carlson on the back straight there, by the way. But at the front, Williams has gone to the lead. Not, I would say, the fastest driver all day, but he's got Nordberg right behind. A big run from Strider as well, out over the line. The white flag does wave. We are going to get a finish here on the green.
Yeah, we are. There was a big block from Holtman. He blocked Strada unbelievably there. He knew he had to throw it. Strada was coming with some pace. Didn't make a difference. Holtman's going to try and go underneath him, but it is going to be a Williams win. I think Andrew Williams is going to make it 2 in a row after a win at Iowa. Is he going to win at Homestead, Miami? Strada's coming again. There's another block from Holtman, but it is going to be Andrew Williams comes over the line. Holtman did get it, but I can tell you one thing, he had to block Strada unbelievably coming off this final corner. Strada with a run, he comes straight up, gets the slide on. Strada's got nowhere to go. Holtman hangs on to the podium. A big, vital block for Clint Holtman on that last corner.
It certainly was, because his main championship rival, Andrew Williams, has taken the win. The point standing is going to get even more interesting as we get to the halfway stage of this championship. Williams starting the day 8 points behind Holtman, but with that with doubling up this week, Williams is going to be a lot closer, if not in the championship lead at the end of the day. But a great finish to that race, and an unexpected winner maybe. If you'd watched the first 90 laps or so, you wouldn't have necessarily believed Williams would take the win.
Yeah, Andrew Williams is your winner. Matthew Nordberg second, Clint Holtman in third. OWR 1, 2, 3. Strada in fourth, Hunter Carlson in fifth, Noel Jakowitz sixth, Nick Stotner in seventh, Devon Collicott in eighth, Andrew Burrell in ninth, and Alex Witt battled his way to 10th. Andrew Jamil in 11th. Armand Brusso did manage to get up into 12th. Seb Pegg 13th. TJ Downing 14th. Rob Sizemore 15th. Joshua Keefe, Trenton Kemmel and Calvin Ross round out the top 18. Then you've got Anthony Radel, Brian McLaughlin and Bradley Young there. What went on with McLaughlin that we missed? How did he end up
something quite clearly
3 laps down?
Must not have taken part in overtime somehow.
He went
Sure
out.
how that's possible.
I have no idea.
No.
I can't answer that question as to why Brown and McLaughlin ended 3 laps down, where I might have to do some digging on that one and try and find out. How bizarre. I tell you what, let's go in the 3-2-1 scenario here as well. We're going to welcome into the booth one Mr. Clint Holtman. Clint, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little worn out from that, but I'm good.
Worn out? Dear sir, did you or did you not throw that block up on Strada to get him covered off there at the end? And how vital was it?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the last corner. I definitely was trying to make sure I, slid up there. But then also I got loose off the corner. But yeah, I definitely was like, I was drove it hard to the bottom there, try to see if I could do the slide job on him. And it almost didn't work, but I think he cut me a little bit of a break there. It was definitely an aggressive move, but yeah, I was trying, I wasn't trying to do anything dirty, but I was trying to, throw the slider, try to get in front of him, slow him down a little bit. I didn't actually think it was going to work, but I think me getting losing a little bit more speed off the corner kind of ironically helped me, because then he was forced to hit me in the bumper there, and then kind of lost all his momentum there. So yeah, I was just trying to pull the slider there, not do anything too egregious.
Well, listen, whether it was on purpose or not, right, you had to do it. Let's be real. I'm realistically telling you had to do it, so that's fair enough. How was it out there in general? You started down in 11th, you're up 8 places, finishing on the podium. Are you happy? Do you think you could have got more? Do you think you did the best that you could have got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy with a podium. I mean, I'm racing Drew for the championship, so it's a little like feel good about third, but also he won the race, so I lost points on him. But I liked how the car felt. It was looser. I like it wasn't really a saving the right front kind of race. It was more saving the rears, and that fits my driving style a little bit. I mean, I wish that caution didn't come out during the green flag run because it's hard to say what would have happened, but I know I was catching Drew and Norberg there, and I was trying, and then me and Strader I was doing everything I could to keep Strader behind me there during that run, and I think it might have been a battle between us, but it's also it's hard to pass. But I know we had fresher tires than both those guys on the same of the guys who had already pit there. So yeah, I mean I messed up my qualifying, so I started mid pack there. So it's nice to get back up to third. I think I could have gotten a little bit more. And also sucks. I know I had at least a second there until that last caution came out, but I can't be too disappointed with a third place finish.
No, definitely not there, sir. Well, congratulations on your third place there. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to shout out the OWR guys, of course. Look, we locked out the podium. That's cool. I don't know if we've done that before.
No.
And then, and then shout out y'all for putting on the race tonight.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Clint, and good luck, dear sir, next week as we head to Nashville Super Speedway.
All right, thank you.
I can give you a quick update on Brandon McLaughlin. He was having a great race, and then his computer decided it needs to do an update.
Typical.
Yeah. We were discussing that before we come live, so
yeah, we literally were, yeah.
Which so there we go. But what can you say? Windows being Windows. But let's have another chat with Mr. Matthew Norberg. We caught up with him taking second in the stage. He's now gone on and took second in the race. So it's a full house for Matt there as well. Matt, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Good. How was the second half of the race from up here?
It was very good. We were seeing some interesting things developing. We had some outside line runners. Brandon McLaughlin just didn't want to come off the outside line. He was most comfortable up there. It was all going off, and it was all getting interesting. And then we had that GWC at the end. What was the thoughts going into that one?
I was super happy that I right before that overtime caution came out, I just got past Christian Strader. I don't know if the broadcast caught it, but we were side by side for what felt like 10 laps beforehand, and I was able to get the pass done. I was able to get third place going into the restart, and I knew if I had a good start, I could get second. And if I had a good first couple of corners on that overtime finish, I think I could have won. The car felt fantastic when the sun went down, so. I just got a little too tight in turn one on that restart, and I lost too much time to Drew in front of me, and that was all she wrote there. I did my best to get back to him, and I thought I did a pretty good job. Maybe one more lap I could have had him, but hats off to Drew. He had a great restart. He played the strategy perfectly to do the undercut and get the track position.
Yeah, he did. He had a really good run. You wouldn't have even, to be fair, towards the beginning and the middle of the race, you wouldn't even put Andrew Williams in and around what was going on. He was in there, but not quite there. And then all of a sudden he comes out and snatches the win. But for you, a second place, not too bad at all. Not too shabby, dear sir. Gaining some points in that championship place. Obviously, do you feel realistically you're within the championship? Do you feel that you just might be a little bit too far back? You've obviously had two races you've missed as well, race number 2 and 3. Is it now just for pride that you're racing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got a lot of stuff going on outside of racing that, I got to deal with work, traveling, family, things like that. So, as much as I'd love to be able to race here every week, sometimes it's just not possible. But either way, I still, love coming out here racing side by side. I got to give a massive shout out to Christian Strader. Finished 4th, but man, he had a fantastic race. I was side by side with him, nose to tail with him the entire race. And big shout out to him, racing clean, racing respectfully. And, that's the kind of racing I love to participate in. I still have the adrenaline going on from being side by side and 3 wide with him for so long. I got the shakes. it's just awesome to come out here, race it towards the front, race competitively, and be in with a shot to win every week. And that's that's what I love doing. Coming out here, racing competitively, and getting the shot at the win.
Yeah, well, Strider had a wicked run coming out of 4 on the final lap, and Holtman blocked the hell out of him. It was like a linebacker taking down a wide receiver. It really was on that one, but Holtman had to do it on there as well. Nashville Super Speedway next week, Matt. What do we think?
Super Speedway is always fun. It's always about kind of who your friends are and what you can make happen for you and what kind of gaps you can find. It's always super fun to head out and to do a little bit of pack racing. So looking forward to it.
Okay, mate. Well, let's see how we get on. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go, bud?
Big shout out to Christian Schrader. Like I said before, fantastic race from him. A little bit unlucky with the caution. He led so much of this race, and I think things could have fallen differently for him. I think he definitely could have had a chance at a win. And then shout out to my OWR teammates, Drew Williams, Clint Halterman, Nick Stockner, Andrew Burl. You guys are all awesome. I love coming out here racing with you guys every night. So, except to you, Drew. I wish you were just a little bit slower on those last 2 laps. But either way, super fun to race with you guys, and love coming out here every week.
Awesome stuff. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us there, buddy, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Great. Thank you.
And the final one here, your winner, the OWR back-to-back, second win in a row at Iowa, and now he's taken the win here at Homestead. Let's have a chat with him, Mr. Andrew Williams. Andrew, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
I am fantastic, JP. This was a hell of a race.
Yeah, it definitely was there, bud. Did you think you could get it? Because there was a few people that looked a little bit swifter than you throughout that race.
Oh, absolutely. I thought I thought I was out of this race until lap 100. That's why I threw a really desperate undercut on that last green flag run just to try and get some track position and see if I could hold on. And I got super lucky with the yellow that led to another yellow, and just that whole sequence at the end, I just managed to sneak through. It did help. Once the sun went down a bit and the track cooled down, my car got a lot faster and I felt a lot quicker. But no, definitely just lucked out here at the end, and I was super lucky to sneak ahead of these guys.
Yeah, Matt said the same thing, to be fair. He said as the sun went down, his car felt like it had come back into him here. So was it the same scenario? What do we think was going on out there? Is it just the temperature dropping the tyres, then feeling a little bit more comfortable so they're not screaming at you towards the end of the stint? What do you think it is?
Yeah, no, it was definitely something. I'm not enough of an engineer to know what it was, but something with the sun out and the heat on the track just was destroying my right rear tire. I could not keep the right rear under me all race. I know a lot of people had the same problem where the car was just unbearably loose for those first 100 laps. And then, once the sun went down and we dropped a couple degrees in track temp, the car felt a million times better. And I could finally, drive it and race these guys. And, I inherited some track position, which definitely helped.
Well, you did. And you took the win. And that alone has got to be worth everything that you've been through this evening. Championship-wise, it's going to be close between you and Clint, isn't it, going into next week?
It absolutely. I mean, by my math, we were maybe 8 points apart going into this race.
Mm-hmm.
I think with today, I mean, me and Clint should be very close to side by side. I'm coming up on a decent set of tracks for me, except Chicago. Chicago street course is going to be a challenge to navigate, but otherwise we're just gonna see what happens. I think I've picked up some form recently. Clint definitely had me beat for most of the spring whenever he was running. So I'm glad I figured some stuff out with the car, and I'm getting quicker. And he's my teammate, and I respect him a lot. But I hope I can whoop him here for the next few races and pull out some points.
I agree as well. However, Chicago. No.
Yeah, Chicago's going to be a race for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it was going to be something, mate. Let's put it that way. But there we go. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go, buddy? Because we're off to Nashville Super Speedway next week, which should be an interesting one. So get your shout outs in just in case you don't survive Nashville.
Of course. Yeah, want to give a huge shout out to all my Orange Oil Racing guys. We had a great run as a team. Locked out the podium, just had speed everywhere. I think really, the three of us that were all up front, and honestly, Burrow and Stockter too. We've been improving a whole lot as a group. We've been figuring out some new stuff, and I just hope we can keep this momentum forward and keep winning races. I think we're nearing on 2 months since we've lost a race in this league, so we're hoping to at least make it to the 2-month part.
Yeah, and it's the first time you've all got a podium, by the way.
Yes, yeah, I believe this is the first time we've locked out the podium.
Yeah, but an amazing job nevertheless. Andrew, well done. Congratulations on your victory, and hopefully we'll see you finish Nashville next week.
Hopefully. Let's see it.
Man.
Thank you.
So there you go, Mr. O'Leary. 3 very happy Orange Wheel Racing boys locking out the podium for the first time here. So they've done their popped their cherry on locking out the podium between them. It was an interesting race, wasn't it? There was strategies going on. There was a bit of door rubbing. There was a bit of mixtures of everything. There was some weird yellow flag calls that I didn't quite understand. But, there was a lot of it all involved.
Yeah, it certainly was. It had a long green flag run at the start as well, of course. It was a very different feel to the end of the race compared to what we had at the start. It was thoroughly enjoyable, though. Really enjoyed the final couple of laps. Sometimes overtime finishes are a little bit disappointing, but it was one of those races where you didn't quite feel like the best drivers were starting at the very front towards the end of those cautions, to be honest. And in the end, some of those guys that were running up front for so long, like Strader, for example, and some of the others, didn't have enough time in the race left to really make up the positions that they maybe should have done and maybe would have done on another day. So it was an unpredictable finish to the race for sure, and it takes us perfectly now to the halfway mark of the season.
And it does, and we've got to give a shout out to poor old Brandon McLaughlin. Gotta love Windows doing an update on his machine right at the end of the race. So my heart goes out to the poor lad. He was doing so well on that one until that update closed it all down. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. To the usual suspects that are here in YouTube chat as well, Anna McAteer, Terry Spainhour, thank you so much for joining us, and Andrew Kimmel there as well. Howie, welcome in, buddy. Thank you so much for spending so much time. You can go and check out Bradley Dalton and Alex Goldschmidt at the moment. They are still live over on the JPB channel. They have got some interesting racing. The SRXs are at Watkins Glen, so go and check them out as well. I'm sure they were having an absolute amazing time, but that's going to drive it and finish it here from myself as well. So thanks so much as always for joining us. I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Mr. Ewan O'Leary. Yes, we are English, and yes, we have been commentating on NASCAR, and as some of you said, we sound like Mary Poppins. But for now, guys, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.